Beautiful day to all of my brethrens and my sisters. Loving day, and I have wanted so much, and I have loved you all with our Father's glorious touch. Beautiful day, beautiful day. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to another video. And I thank you for joining me once more. Now, of course, as normal, we always here to edify. And why do we edify? Well, because it is good that we do not turn into heretics and let alone be abominable to truth and logic, and also be clouded by the judgment of our own perception rather than the actual truth of a sound reasoning. Okay? Now, as always, I always tell you guys about my interactions with people on their panel. Now, we have a circumstance that I believe I have to start bringing back up the situation with the grape situation, which I already explained in my previous video. I interacted with a group of either non-believers, which are still called heretics or atheists, and they think that Deuteronomy, right, 22 verse, I believe, yeah, Deuteronomy chapter 22, I believe it was 28 to 29, speak of grape. Now, yes, we can look at it in that sense. Of course, however that it is, there's two aspects to that. One is grape, and the other is if a person is caught in the action, even in free will. If the person is caught, or free choice, however people like to use that, free choice to interact in a permissive act of colliding the bodies. So there's two aspects to that, because we have the translations which people use the KJV, but even if that was to be the case, or we would like to use the Hebrewic or any other versions, the Geneva, whatever the case is, the Codex, whatever the case is, when it comes to translation, right? The word tell us what? The word tell us what? Matter of fact, let me go to the word, right? Just to make things a bit much fair, so that if they happen to what's the word? If they happen to um I'm gonna have to Google it. I don't feel like doing all of that. But if they happen to be on here, or they happen to see exactly this video, my well wishes unto you, brothers and sisters. I meant you no harm, and like I spoke. I just don't like when people ask me rhetorical questions like if, um, if the sun stops shining, and our Father, what would our Father do to keep or maintain or sustain the world? And I answer you with, if the sun stops shining, it's called nighttime. I don't know what more of an answer would you expect me to give you, because there's no description to your logic in that specific statement. Just to be realistic with you, right? Just like every other statement that I basically answered, and that people are being disingenuous about how they want to take their response and also trying to put words in my mouth, which obviously, I will ask you the question to repeat your statement again. Okay? So these people, by the way, they asked me about this because I brought it up, and they were making a statement to try to further their claim as if they were right. Now, the situation with that is, they don't know that the graping situation, Deuteronomy 22, chapter 28 to 29, is more so of a warning, because there are three aspects of things that were to take place as a result or some type of consequences. Mind you, in the older Hebrew tradition, right, there was a lot of bloodshed that was happening, and people were trying to reduce it. And this is the reason why the law of Moses was established, because why? It was something to keep people united, because either one, if you committed rape, right, even if the female conceded, right, or she conceded, yeah, if the female conceded to the act of colliding bodies, right? Even if that were to be the case, they can get exiled, right? Because you know, a woman's marriage and a man's marriage were not taken lightly. Unlike in the modern time where people just frivolously just do whatever that they want. I believe I said the word properly, properly, frivolous. People out here just being very, very active, right? And they don't want the consequences. So when a baby come, they want to say that, oh, we're my body, my choice. But then you chose to go out here and do these acts that could have potentially got you preggers. So you want to abort the mission. I don't think that's fine. I don't think that's okay to say. So factoring that, we have one where the man will either get exiled. Sometimes there are a few occasions where the women will also get exiled, but the man usually is the one to take blame. The man will take, just like in the modern time, the man will be exiled. If he's not exiled, he will get stoned because that's going to be still considered idolatry. And if he doesn't get stoned, he will have to be married to the woman because the woman will possibly conceive or will be carrying child. Every baby that's born out here, I don't like using a word, but it's the actual word for it, bastards, when they're not born under wedlock. That's what the word is. So they were trying to reduce the bloodshed, the possibility of adultery and kids not being born under wedlock being their tradition. So if they're given a warning, why are people upset about the fact that we're told that in that tradition, the only way that they can conclude that is either by exiling, bloodshed, right, or marriage. And I don't condone grape at all. And that's the crazy thing about it. I do not condone grape. Mind you, consequences, the word consequence. It's like when people are listening to something, they like to just pick what the emotion gives them. When people are out here, right? And they get and this is me talking to you, my sisters. When you're out here and you are dating a man and a man happens to take your virginity, right? And he does not stick with you, how can you be upset at him when you made the choice to be with him? Yes, you have every right to be upset at him. I can understand. It's an emotional thing. But you're choosing and picking exactly, like you're literally nitpicking exactly what you want. So understand that there are consequences that come with that. Grape is not a great thing. It's not a good thing. It has never, ever been. And I would never condone it here. But how can you literally take the statement that was said and flip it around as if it was being promoted, as if like, hey, you grape somebody, you're gonna have to marry that person? No, marriage was not the only option. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. There are consequences. That was just one aspect of it. Remember that the whole translations thing is literally the reason why a lot of people are having debates and all of these arguments, and a lot of Christians among Christians are debating about stuff. It's because we cannot understand to tell one specific situation and know the difference between logic and parables. Parables are due to concepts of a schematic act that's being played, right, on certain what aspects of your perception on what is good, and the good that comes from good, and the good that comes and the bad that comes from good sometimes, because we can sometimes think we're making good decisions and they're bad results. Teaching lessons. People are not understanding that. And it seems like majority of the people that I talk to, mind you, they like, it wasn't the women that was entirely being disrespectful. It was just the one man, and I'm not obviously gonna put his name out there. There's no need. I forgive him and I forgive the rest of the ladies on there. But it's just the fact that they really got upset because I gave them answers, and one of the ladies said they were trying to build on something. by them asking me these questions. So they're trying to create a narrative of their own claim so that their opinions can overlook the fact by them saying that because we have been taught this and man has written this and that, that it can be a fact. Now what happened to all of their facts that man wrote that they read? That's why when I was on there and the brother basically said that you're using all these big words I can't understand, it's because, my brother, you have to read. If you don't read, then what's the purpose of arguing? What's the purpose of talking? What's the purpose of conversating? That makes you illiterate. A and plus B will give you C. If this was a variable, you would not know what C is because you're going to be jumping from variable to variable and not knowing exactly what PEMDA is. So if there was a parentheses, you're just going to add if you just see a plus sign. And mind you, this is the reason why when I talk to people, I'm always respectful because at the end of the day, I don't cut people off. I don't curse at people. I don't yell at people to get my point across. If you ask me a question that logically has not landed, that has no type of description in it, but you're trying to give a claim based off your opinion and what you think is a fact, right? And plus, you use that same concept to live your daily life. What is the difference between me bringing my claim, which is actually proven, and yours is not? It's like telling me that the sky and the cloud don't exist, and it's like I'm gonna look at the clouds, and I said the clouds in the sky don't exist, and I'm gonna be looking at the clouds. I'm like, you're talking about this right here? I can see it with my own very eyes. You're telling me that it doesn't exist? That's like these are the type of questions that they were asking me. Questions that obviously did not make any sense. And they blocked me. And this is the reason why I laugh. I laugh. I'm not gonna lie to you, brothers and sisters. I laughed so much in that situation because I was like, bro, I can't believe these people are asking me rhetorical questions. And I understand, hey, if you're curious about something, at least give the genuine love of wanting to understand people's perspective, rather than trying to convert people. I don't hop on you guys' panels on trying to convert you. It is not my job. It's not my job to convert you. It's my job to give you the knowledge, right? And if you ask me a question that is actually genuine, right? Rather than just saying, oh, this, if you ask me a question that is opposite to what I believe, I'm going to answer it to my best of abilities. If I can, if I know it, if I don't know it, I'm not going to tell you I know it. I'm going to tell you I don't know. That's me being genuine and truthful. So you cannot call me a liar because you disagree with a fact rather than an opinion. You get what I'm saying? And this is what I deal with when it comes to non-believers, because they're so lost that they don't even want to understand logic because they're so caught up. And I could tell that a lot of these type of people, they're doing this because they have the spirit of religion. They have this, well, not even religion, contradiction in them. They have the spirit of the world in them. And that's what was happening, especially the man. He was getting heated. The women, they understood what I was saying. Even if they were getting upset, they understood what I was saying. They couldn't say that what I was saying didn't make any sense because I want them to say that it didn't make any sense. Then they also were saying that I was deviating from the question. But if you're asking me a question without description and it makes no sense, I'm going to give you an answer based on the questions that you're asking me. Mind you, you're cutting me off while I'm talking. I don't disrespect you. I don't cut you off while you're talking. I don't yell at you. I don't do any of these dramatic things to give myself or make myself feel like I have any power over you. Mind you, I didn't come there to convert you. I came there to share knowledge, right? And exchange knowledge. So by me exchanging knowledge, that means what? If you are convicted by the spirit which is in me, that's it, it happened. I'm not here to argue. And that's what they were trying to get me to do. And I'm so sorry. I don't want to argue with you. I can't even fail. I can't even begin to argue with you because arguing with you is like arguing with a baby. And it's like even certain babies, they know better. They know how to speak. They know what words mean. If I don't know what a word mean, I will ask you genuinely, I'm sorry, sir, what I'm sorry, ma'am, sir, whatever, what does that word mean? I have no clue. If you would kindly help me understand what that means, that would be grateful so we can be on the same page. I have no problem. But don't ask me stupid questions saying that if the sun stops shining right now, what would our father do? It would be nighttime. That's the concept of day and night, like literally day and dark, like light and dark. If the sun stops shining, there will be what I could understand in the aspect of what they could have been saying, but it was never clear on the question of what was said. And this is exactly what I always talk about when people are asking questions. They're too busy trying to contradict and trying to go against and have this reflex of fight rather than just being like, hey, I understand that's your perspective, but they want me to take responsibility for all Christians rather than me talking about my perspective. I came there with my perspective and also the general actual topic of the word itself. Yes, the that's why I said that the King James versions have his translation. The Geneva has a translation. They might use the word grape, right? The NIV has the word grape. The Hebrew not necessarily have the word grape. The codex don't necessarily have the word grape. There are a lot of different versions that do not have the word grape. So even if you were to say somebody were to see someone, when you talk, so mind you, right, we use a lot of slang nowadays. I want people to consider this because I do talk a lot, but a lot of people don't consider this. We as people use a lot of slang. So if we can also agree that a lot of those people back then were not YT, right? So they were definitely melanated people. So if we use slangs now, imagine back then. They used slangs, but their slang was more direct. It wasn't a slang of where there's aspects of potential negativity. These curse words never existed. If it was a curse word, it was actually a curse word that was coming from a cast that was coming from a practice of evil and wickedness, of witchery, sorcery. Like legitimately. So when we understand that, we understand exactly how these things are being portrayed. So I don't understand when people ask me questions and it just does not make sense and they expect me to give them an answer that I already answered. I don't get it. What are you on the live for if you can't understand a word that somebody says, and if you don't know what somebody can is talking about? What are you on the live for? That means that you're on the live just to talk the talk. That's it. Legitimately. And like I said, I'm not here to disrespect nobody, but it's just how can people get mad? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, I do understand that it is the spirit because there were a couple of them that got angry, and it's like, how can you be angry over a conversation and nobody disrespect you? How can you be angry over a conversation? That's a manifestation. I told people spirits, demonic spirits, do not like me. They do not like me. Demonic spirits do not like me. They like me when they want to use me, but they don't like me when I actually do things of my father and I actually do things of his business. They don't like me. They like me when I mess up. They don't like me when I'm actually talking good things of life, bringing peace and actual logic and sound understanding. See, a lot of these people, I could tell you that they take other people's perspective of what they say, right? They take other people's perspective of what they say and they just run with it by word of mouth. I actually sat down, did my research. I don't know everything. I would never say I know everything. But what I do know that my creator has given me as knowledge, some of it is natural where I came to the conclusion of certain things and then I did my research and I found out it was to be true. It was to be true. So what am I supposed to say? Like, oh no, I'm not gonna go by my logic because my perspective is wrong. How can you tell me my perspective is wrong because I'm reading people's translations and you doing the same thing on a daily basis? So if I were to tell a woman to say, or man, to say that, hey, whatever that you put on your face for acne or whatever the case is, read the instructions and the translations, or I said the instructions, read the manual formula of what's given, or go online and look up all of these things. That's man-made as well. So are we gonna deny the fact that it wasn't man-made just because it's science? I know science. I could talk to you about the valence electrons, and most people don't even know what that is, for those that have a lot of, for those that run their mouth when it comes to debates. Just that simple word. They don't even know the difference between magnetism and electro pulses, let alone electromagnetic fields. They don't know that. Most people don't. Most people don't. I like chemistry. That's why my mind is the way that it is. But I also like what? I like physics. I don't understand. People want to argue and debate, and I didn't come here to debate and argue, and they get upset because I'm not debating and arguing, and they want to build on a structure of lies and fallacies, and they expect me to just be like, hey, I'm going to agree to this. I'm going to answer your question, and give you a lie. No, I gave you the truth. You just didn't like the truth that I gave you. And it was just that simple. What do you want me to say? Would you want me to lie to you? Then you block me. I just can't. And this is what I mean when I say that I have no reason to be upset at people, because there's tons of people out here that are actually not really taught. If they're not taught, they're following trends. If they're not following trends, they're just being disingenuous. If they're not being disingenuous, they're just acting off of their own natural instincts of what? Stupidity. Because if you're not being intellectual or you're not being wise, you're being stupid. That's just that simple. And I'm not talking about them. I don't know what their case is, and I could care less. I came there and I said the truth, and that's all that matters. And I didn't disrespect nobody, and I left there with respect, knowing that I came there with positive intention and loving intention, but they just couldn't handle it. I could tell the spirit in them would just, it was just not right. It just was not correct. It was not trying to be acceptance of the truth. And I was not trying to, hey, accept everything that I tell you. Like, start thinking life like this way. Don't contradict what I say. If you want to contradict, go ahead, contradict. But don't disrespect me. Let alone don't ask me stupid questions. When we all know that it's a warning to tell people to stop doing certain things, to tell people to, like, literally, this is why, when, like, I don't blame them. Like I say in my previous video, I don't blame a lot of people that are atheists about the questions that they ask. So we know that the Bible has been translated and certain things are not exactly given in the proper instructions. We have the commandments. We have the word of our Creator. We have the teachings and the enforce and, well, to fulfill the fulfillment of Christ. So we know exactly the main purpose of what we're supposed to do. Everything else was basically considered by the church. Like I said, I don't trust the Pope. I did my research on these people. I don't trust the Vatican. I done my research on these people. I don't trust a lot of these things that are called churches, and when we're the body of Christ. All of this Hail Mary stuff. I don't trust all of these things because I have my own experience. And me having my own experience, I can go off that experience and I can tell you that it's been a wonderful experience. People talk smack, but not one time do they disrespect me because they know better. That's why their spirits speak. For even the demons and earth and other people, it spoke out of their mouth and tried to disrespect him, but it gave him respect. I didn't come there to cast devils. You know, most of the people that comes that the devils was cast out of them were people that wanted the devils gone. That's the reason why you have a lot of people out here being very deceiving, and they pray online, which is not a bad thing. If that's what the spirit guides you to do, that's fine. But I feel like a lot of people have to accept the prayer. They have to accept deliverance. They have to accept salvation for that to happen. Because you're not going to pray on somebody and then like, hey, devils, go away, depart from me, depart from them. Doesn't work that way. There's a law to everything. That person have a choice. It's like saying that you're knocking on somebody's door. They have the choice to open the door or not. Your body is a vessel. It's literally the temple itself. So if they let in demons, it's their choice for them to open that door and let Christ in so that Christ can knock those, our Father's Spirit can knock those devils out. Simple. We have dominion as well. We have authority. We understand principalities and thrones and powers. But yet, we still have to deal with a lot of stuff in this very time. And people that don't even know exactly what they're talking about, which is crazy. But enough of that. Let's get into the word actually. What is the topic of today? Right on the mark. Repent before it's too late and don't follow trends. Most people are just doing what they do. They don't even know because they lack understanding, and that's why they perish. You know, if you follow the works of evil, you will be like our Father will allow yourself to be clouded because you made the choice. So for a lot of people, they're like, hey, this and that and that and that and that and the third. I don't like Christians. I don't like our Creator. You don't have to like our Creator, but you can't tell people not to share the gospel when we're told to share the gospel, and we're not intending evil for you. We want actually the best for you. We don't like. We're not gonna be like, hey, what we're doing is the best for you. Of course, we're gonna think that we're doing what we're doing is the best for you, but at the end of the day, we don't make the judgment over your life. We're just doing what we can do. I don't get it, but okay. And like I made the previous videos, brothers and sisters, I don't understand if there's a population of 1 million people, that are actually true believers out of 100 to 200 to 300 million people. I don't know if I'm gonna be sitting around and listening to a whole bunch of pastors preach when majority of them they're making about $4 billion a year annually, right? And yeah, owning planes, and they don't build recreational centers. They don't, and if they do, there's always some sketchy situations going on because you always hear a bad thing going on with them over things that happens in their life. But yet people are still suffering. But yet they know exactly the fundamentals of the truth. That means everybody that's supposed to be in the ministry, they're supposed to be succeeding and excelling. Some of these people don't even know that the words have already been prophesied, but it's fine though. I'm not here to judge anyone, but I'm just saying though, that things make sense a bit. That things make sense a bit, just slightly enough, where if we're doing what we do, it has to come from a place of actual true love and true genuine peace and patience and understanding. Because a lot of people lack in that compartment. A lot of people do. But let's get into the word. We're gonna be in the Chronicles of Saint Luke, chapter 13. Chapter 13. And of course, this is just a summary. We're gonna get into it, and we're gonna make it a little bit quick, just so that we don't keep you here like the previous video, which was almost an hour. All right, let's get started. There were rumors of Galileans sacrificing people, and Christ told them even those people of those actions can be redeemed through repentance. So so those that unalive others, you have a chance to be redeemed. But we'll know exactly, especially those that walk in true spirit and in true faith and in truth. We'll know. We can read you like a book. Other people gonna believe you, just like when they swapped out Christ for I believe it was Barnabas. No, it was Barabbas. For Barabbas, Barabbas was a mischievous person, but yet Christ came for everybody, so he allowed himself to get swapped out for Barabbas, or some people might say Barabbas. Simple. But let's continue. No matter our ideals of righteousness, our Creator accepts through true repentance, stated in verse 2 through 5. Then Christ spoke of a parable in verse 6 through 9 of a man who grew a fig tree and would have cut it down, although it bare no fruit, but preferred to wait. Sin. A tree that don't bear no fruit is gonna fall. It's gonna rot. It's not meant to exist. These are concepts of sin as a nature. Everything has to do with nature, natural or not natural. The phenomena of the concept of things that are good and bad, or you could say good and evil. Like a sterile banana is not normal, it's not natural. A banana that any fruit that cannot repopulate or regrow of its own self should not exist. It should not exist. But let's continue. Sin then spoke of a woman who for 18 years had a spirit of infirmity that she couldn't lift herself up. Christ came and healed her, and it was immediately, well, Christ came and healed her, and it was immediate as she rose and glorified our Elohim, stated in verse 11 through 13. Now it was the Sabbath, and seeing of this, the ruler of the synagogue was angry. He tried questioning Christ on his actions, but Christ replied and told him, "You yourself, don't you work the field or cultivate your farms and animals on this day?" On the Sabbath, by the way, this is the Sabbath. To say I'm wrong for healing someone for her not to also enjoy the Sabbath. So the Sabbath is to be enjoyed by everybody. It sounds like a politician that want to play doctor and also judge at the same time. Oh, I'm a doctor, but I'm going to debate with you about who can get in this hospital to get the medicine they need to live out to this day so that they can go to work, make some money, right? And then come back again with the same injury because they haven't slept long enough. They haven't gained enough hours to sleep. They haven't gained enough hours to this. They haven't eaten enough because they were called to work and they didn't prepare properly because they barely went to sleep the previous day and they worked and they had to get a couple extra hours and all of this woo 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 woo. What do you expect people to say? I don't play charades. That's one thing I need to let people understand. I do not play charades. I will be respectful as possible. When you disrespect me, I'm going to be respectful to you still. But I will tell you the truth. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I don't have to curse you out. I don't have to say anything bad about you. And it doesn't even have to be about you. It could just be about a question or a statement that you make. If it's disingenuous, I'm gonna let you know it's not I'm not gonna be like, hey, it's stupid. I'm gonna literally answer the question based on the question. I'm gonna answer your question based on how you ask me. If it's descriptive enough for me to give you a descriptive answer, I will do so. If it's not, then I'm gonna also do the same thing. Give you a very plain answer. Understand the serpent's logic. but do not what they do. Wasn't that Christ's word? Understand what they're saying. Know what they're saying. Know how they behave. But don't act like them. Because they're not going to receive salvation. And because they're not going to receive salvation, you won't receive salvation. Then there's this whole statement of people saying that if you're once saved, you cannot go back, you cannot lose your salvation. If you're once saved, you cannot lose your salvation. I believe that's true. But there's a lot of people out here that are really liars that tell people that they're saved and they portray themselves to be saved when it's not the truth. And that's where the misconception of all of these topics come from. How can we know if somebody is saved? Well, we can know just because somebody doesn't have millions of dollars, they don't live in a mansion, they don't have the biggest job in the world, they're not a very big influence. That does not mean that they're not saved. Most people that are saved, right? You can literally feel the spirit in them. They don't even have to talk. And if they do talk, you might still give them the same type of reaction as a normal person, but it's not going to come off the same once they actually give you logic. Because everybody that's saved, logic is in a difference. It's difference between being understanding and having knowledge and having also wisdom. Because a lot of people seek wisdom, but they can't have it because they don't have the fundamentals of the spirit. What we have is practice understanding, which is common sense. That's what a lot of people practice. Common sense in the sense of what has been given to them from generation to generation and has been constructed. And it's not everything that's bad, obviously. You need to have common sense. It's called logic, but wisdom is different than that. You tap in more so in the field, and you intervene in between the spaces of things that are happening physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, which is still physically, but let's just give that the aspect because there's so many there. Let's just give that a runabout because there's still so many things that can be projected in that. But let's continue though. Then he said to them, "Be like him, for a seed that grows into a great tree, and not to be selfish, but for all to share." So when you are what? When you're growing fruits, it's not for your glory, but for the glory of our Creator. Meaning everybody gets to eat. Everybody gets to sleep. Everybody gets to be in peace, love, sheltered. Everybody. Because what makes you better than somebody else? One little thing can be removed from you, and that's usually what happens to everybody. They lose their everlasting mind. If I became homeless, right? I have skills. I will live in the wilderness. I will cut trees down, build me a house, make concrete. I know how to filter water, generate electricity. I can create certain man. I'm not going to tell too much about what I can do, but I can survive. And I'm also slightly an engineer, an IT man. I'm a chemist, physics man. I understand concepts of quantum physics. I'm also very spiritual and well versed in a lot of things that happens in this world. I will survive without money, but most people they won't. I know how to work with agriculture aspects of fruits. Mind you, I said I'm a chemist, and it doesn't have to do necessarily with chemicals. I understand biology, anatomy, and a lot of things that go in those functions. I will survive. But I can't tell that for the rest of everybody else because money. Let's go to the market if you run out of food. If the house break down and the tsunami hits every house right now, Yahuwah forbids, um, most people are gonna be Hey, and mind you, no more internet. It's gonna be war. It's gonna be war. It's gonna be war. People are gonna be fighting over resources because they don't know how to grow their own stuff. And because they can't agree amongst each other unless they group together to go and do harm to others. That'll be it. Simple. These people have tested us like lab projects, and we're still out here still acting like lab rats, and we don't even see it. And that's the funny thing about it all, and that's sad. See, I play with the people that do these type of things. And it's crazy how I'm still genuine though. I don't play in the sense of trying to make them stupid. I play in the sense of me having fun and me making it entertaining for me. I even asked my father to humor me. Because why not? I don't test them. I need to laugh sometimes. I really do. Because most people, they will be sad. And whatever that I go through. And brothers and sisters, I will definitely share this with you guys in a video of everything that goes on in my life. One of these days, I will definitely share that with you. Everything. The moment has not come yet. But when the moment will come, trust and believe all of you would know. Everything from the spiritual aspect, the mental, the emotional, the physical, the financial. When it comes to relations, friends, family, relationships, strangers, all of it, it will all be revealed to you. Because why? You matter to me. You matter to my father. You matter to me as well. So let's continue. The next verse, remind you that verse, the previous verse was verse 18 through 19. The next verse says, then some of his disciples asked, will we be saved? Oh, crazy. I was just speaking about that. Crazy, huh? And Christ said, there will be many called, but a few chosen, for the road is narrow. So if the road is narrow, how can there be 300 million people out of 12 billion people that are true believers? If there's going to be 144,000 people, right, that will be given a seal at the end days. Let's be logical. Let's be realistic and let's be logical. It wouldn't make sense. But also, the next verse says, for now the doors are open, but when our Creator closes the gates of the heavens, there will be no chances for many. For they will recollect their doings, for they will be recollected their doings for our Creator, for our Creator, but will be reminded, they will be recollected. But for our Creator, we will be reminded that it was, my apologies, that it was in vain, as you will see the rest that were accepted from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And the rest of the disciples from east, west, north, and south come in the kingdom of the heavens, stated in verse 25 to 27. And these are references, like I said. This is just an aspect of a translation, a short summary. So everybody will be going, everybody that is actually in Christ, it doesn't matter what denomination, what land, nation that you are, true believers, not the I'm a Christian and I'm a Sunday Christian only, a one day Christian. I read the word here. I like to politic, and I'm a historian, but I still like to curse. I still like to say vulgar things. I still like to lie. I still like to lie. I still like to steal. Understand, just because you have a spirit doesn't mean that you have the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit will keep you from doing certain things. I promise you. We have habits. So there are openings of doors, and that's very understandable. And even if you do have the Holy Spirit, you will be tempted to make mistakes. But at the same time, that's why we are saved. That's why we're given the aspect of what? Retribution. That's why we have to be in what? Repentance. Because why? We are still in the flesh. We're not perfect, but we one day will be perfect. We one day will be perfect, and our actions will atone for such intentionally from the depths of our heart. So let's continue to read. All right. And that was the previous verse was verse 25 through 27. Again, I just had to repeat that one more time. And the next verse says, like the devil, right? A certain Pharisees told him to leave, for Herod will come to will come to unalive him. And Christ told him to tell Herod the fox that he heals and deliver people whenever as he will come back again. Then Christ went on saying, I am here now, but you kept me not in your heart. For your temple is empty and it will be destroyed, for you will not see me until I return again, when the end of the time comes forth. Why do you think that is? Like I said, the word Herod. When you spell the word Herod backwards, what does it say? Torah. Herod. It might say Herod. But let's mind you, Greek, Latin, Phoenician, French, Spanish. What do you think these words derive from? Hebrew. Where do you think these words derive from? Like the same way when people use the word Gaia, right? Or Gia, right? And you spell it backwards, what does it say? Egg. So the reference of the word seed is a universal what? Analogy for a lot of things, just like how we're born in this world, let alone what stems of this world is sperm as well. It's a universal law. So I don't understand people when they talk sometimes because if our Christ considered the Pharisees the devils, and they're the ones that constructed, right? And mind you, I use the word like. I didn't say it was in the word, but they were called the children of the vipers, right? So if our Christ considered the Pharisees like and the scribes in some aspect, like as the word devils, right? And there was the ones that had aid in writing and transcribing with the scribes literature for mankind and in establishing the church. Why do you think I will follow the church? Now, some people call Paul a heretic. I won't call Paul a heretic. I think Paul had a good intention when he was actually establishing the construction of a hierarchy when it came to the word church. But it was the Romans that deconstructed it and made it into their own image. So when people think that I'm just going to be out here listening to a pope, a prophet, or just because you say, no, do you not know that first off, I'm going to just be as real as possible. Those things don't work on me. Oh, I'm a prophet, I'm a prophetess. Those things do not work on me. I will look at you. I wouldn't even disrespect you. I'm just going to be, okay, I understand. But I'm going to test your spirit by first what? By first what? I'm going to talk to that spirit, but I might ask you a question, but I'm going to talk to that spirit directly through you. And you won't even know that the spirit is talking to you. And this is how possession works. The spirit will actually manifest. There's no lie, because I had also people that have done these things in front of my face, and I looked at them like, "Hey, are you serious? Like, do you not know that I'm here, right? Like, if I do you not know that by you doing that, there has to be somebody that can understand, because you can't just tell somebody something and there's nobody to translate. All of it is for the will of our Father, not for personal gain or glory. And even if people were to recreate a scenario for it to happen, right? Even if people were to create a scenario for it to happen, the spirit is going to have to be convicting. It's not everybody that speak in tongue. And if it be that I have to speak in tongue, I will want it to be natural. I don't want to just speak in tongue because I want to speak in tongue. No, I can already understand languages in some cases when I don't need to. When I don't, when I can, there's certain times people speak other languages. I never learned the language, and I can understand certain things that they're telling, that they're saying. I don't know how, but it happens. Am I going to lie about that? No, no, I can't lie about that. Does that mean I speak in tongue? No, but I could if the spirit was to be that. But there will be somebody that will translate. There will be for sure somebody that will translate. There will be somebody that will translate. Because I don't just like speaking out of my butt. I don't like to be a donkey. I don't like when people try to finesse me, try to trick me. I don't like it. I really don't. So for a lot of people that do these type of things and acts, I would suggest that you calm that stuff down, because blasphemy is not a good thing. Blasphemy is not a good thing, especially when you're talking to somebody that is a very, very gift that is given discernment. Blasphemy is not a good thing. I'm a very respectful and nice and loving person. But just because if it's like somebody asking me to ask them a question, why would I ask you a question if I already have an answer to a question that I need to ask? And if I need an answer, the spirit is gonna give me an answer, not of my own volition and my own understanding. So if I think about something and it's not to be true, my Father is gonna give me an answer. And no, I don't mind getting answers from people, but if I'm looking for an answer, I will be given one. There's a difference between coming across people. If I have an answer, trust and believe. I have questions for people, right? And my questions are not always based off the word, because it's just me just asking people's perspective of the word. That's different than me asking them something personal. For me to what? To think that I'm going to eat. There's a lot of stuff that I tell you guys that I leave hints for you to be able to do research on, and most people don't even do research on words. And please correct me if I say this word wrong. Like the word, for example, prosciente, and I have to go back to look at it because I don't want to say it wrong. It's not that I don't know I don't know what it is. I just don't want to say it. Sinaitic, Sinaitic, proto-Sinaitic, just like that. The literal meaning of the writings is on the wall. And they've been talking about prophecies before, they were even written on the tabloids. It's just that we cannot understand it. And some of it, and mind you, some of it was also flipped. So yes, even that had even that history of knowledge was written by certain people that also changed the knowledge of these things, which we call our predecessor. Oh, give me one more. My apologies. Even people got their chances to write these things. There was Wadi El Hol. right? I don't even if I said the word properly, but it's Wadielhol, and this was probably, I would believe, about around the time of the Egyptians, like the early Egyptian times, right? There's another L something. Mind you, that is a family name. L. Remind you that these are family names, people from descendants of the fallens. And I keep telling people this. This is why we have to always remember what we're reading. The prophecies was already given. So they already knew that it was going to be a Christ. They already knew that it was going to be somebody that's going to stop them, a hero that's going to pop up. They already knew that. They already knew that. But unfortunately, people still don't get it to their head that there's history that comes with this. And even if people made this up, right, you cannot literally, anybody can argue with it. But at the end of the day, what are you going to say about it that's going to change the fact that it's still up there and you follow facts that you consider facts on a daily basis, but you don't want to consider the book base, you don't consider the history of the book true? But then you want to nitpick. But unfortunately, I've had enough of the video. I don't want to hold you up guys any further than what I have. Like always, much love and love to you all. All right, and you already know how this is about to go. Mwah! A kiss onto you and onto the rest of your family. And if somebody told you they don't love you today, tell them I said I love you and them. So if they don't want my kiss, mwah, they have to take it anyways. All right, this is not a Diddy party around here. And Sean Diddy Combs, I don't know you personally, so if you happen to come across this video, no disrespect, I'm just saying that to be a funny man, not to be a joke star or anything like that, but to be a funny man. All right, so much love to everyone, and I pray for all of your salvations to come, and I pray for your deliverance to happen, because there's a lot of wrong happening in this world. This is not the type of situations to occur in the sense of what I want, but it'd be the will of our Father, of our Creator. So please, you guys, take care, be diligent, be very, very discerning of what people do out here and what they tell you. Just like our Father through Christ told us when it came to these deceivers. Understand what they tell you. When you listening to what they say, understand what they tell you and do not what they do. Listen to their logic. Understand also their logic. And also do not what they do, because they are what? The children of the vipers. So therefore, good day. Huzzah.